Long ago in the marble heart of Rome, beneath the echo of sandals and ambition, lived Lucius Varro, a senator born from humble soil but polished by power. He had tasted victory in debate, wealth in trade, and respect in the Senate, yet every triumph felt fleeting, like a flame that burned bright only to fade into the noise of history. Each night, as the torches dimmed and the streets emptied, he would stand by his balcony, gazing at the distant forum where statues of heroes and emperors gleamed under the moonlight. Men of stone stared down upon the city, their names whispered by generations. "What separates them from me?" Lucius would murmur. "Are their bones stronger, or merely their marble?" The thought gnawed at him, the fear of vanishing. He imagined his voice forgotten, his ideas dissolved, his life reduced to dust among the thousands who once thought themselves eternal. And so he resolved to build his legacy, not in words, but in stone. A statue of himself, taller than any man, carved from the whitest Carrara marble. A monument that would whisper to the centuries, Lucius Varro lived, and Rome remembered. He summoned Dion of Naxos, a sculptor known not for beauty, but for truth. Dion's statues were said to breathe, not because they were flawless, but because they carried the cracks of the soul. "Make me eternal," Lucius commanded. The old man studied him, the proud chin, the restless eyes, the tension of a man at war with time. "Eternal?" Dion asked softly. "Even marble forgets." "Then make it remember longer than flesh." Days turned to weeks, and the workshop became a battlefield of perfection. Lucius visited daily, demanding adjustments. "My gaze must pierce like Jupiter's, my stance upright, invincible." Dion said nothing, only carved. Yet each stroke of his chisel seemed slower, heavier, as though he carved not marble, but vanity itself. Outside, Rome thrived. Markets, laughter, processions. But Lucius withdrew further into obsession, believing that his likeness was his legacy. When it was done, the statue stood radiant. Its eyes looked toward eternity. Citizens gathered to see it, a senator cast in godlike form. Lucius watched with trembling pride a mortal who had manufactured immortality. "Now," he whispered, "I have conquered time." Rome had seen countless festivals, but none so lavish as the unveiling of Lucius Varro's monument. Trumpets blared, incense burned, and rose petals rained from the rooftops. The Senate applauded. The people cheered. Lucius stood on the podium, his robe heavy with gold thread, his hand raised as if blessing the city. Behind him his statue towered, gleaming, immaculate. He felt the adoration like wine in his veins. "This," he thought, "is what the gods must feel." When night fell and the crowds dispersed, Lucius lingered. He approached the statue in silence, the moon pouring light across its face. For a moment he thought it moved, as if mocking him. He placed a trembling hand upon its cold cheek and whispered, "You are me, and yet you are more. You will live when I am gone." But the statue did not answer. Only the night wind replied, brushing marble lips that would never speak. The storm came without warning, thunder tearing the heavens, lightning splitting the sky above the forum. Rain fell in torrents, washing through the streets like divine judgment. From his villa, Lucius heard the sound, a deep echoing crack that made his blood run cold. He ran barefoot through the flooded alleys until he reached the square. There it was, his statue, shattered, mutilated, its head broken upon the stones. The face that once symbolized eternity now lay scattered among puddles and mud. Lucius collapsed beside it, clutching a fragment of his marble hand. "No, this cannot be. I built you to last beyond my life." A flash of lightning illuminated the ruin, and he saw it, a deep fissure inside the stone, one that must have existed from the first day, hidden, waiting. The storm had only revealed what time would have done eventually. He stayed there until dawn, a proud man weeping beside the ruins of his own illusion. When the morning light returned, Lucius sought Dion. He found the old sculptor seated before a block of marble. Hands dusty, eyes calm, Lucius threw the fragment onto the floor. "You betrayed me. You gave me flawed stone." "No," said Dion quietly. I gave you truth. He gestured to the marble beside him. Perfection is fragile, Senator. You wished for a God's image, but men are not gods. You feared being forgotten, yet it is our imperfection that makes us remembered. Lucius fell silent. His anger melted into something heavier, understanding. Dion continued, marble endures longer than flesh, yes, but not longer than deeds. You built your image. Now build your Rome. Those words struck deeper than any hammer. Lucius left the workshop humbled, carrying not a piece of marble, but a thought that would change the rest of his life. Years passed. Rome changed. Fires rose. Emperors fell. The Senate turned to dust. But among the city's countless stories, one name quietly endured: Lucius Vero. Not as the man of marble, but as the senator who opened his villas to refugees after the Great Fire, the man who rebuilt the aqueducts, the man who paid artisans from his own wealth so others might carve their dreams. He never rebuilt the statue. He said to those who asked, "The gods already broke the one that mattered. The rest is for me to build in flesh." He died an old man, modest, surrounded not by monuments, but by people. Centuries turned to dust. His name faded from history, his tomb lost beneath layers of stone and earth, and yet his spirit survives in every man and woman who seeks meaning beyond mirrors, who learns that what we build for ourselves crumbles, while what we build for others endures. In the modern world, where marble has become glass and reflections live in screens, his story returns. We craft digital statues, flawless, smiling, empty, and chase the illusion of permanence. We seek to be remembered, liked, followed. But the storm still comes, sometimes as silence, sometimes as time. And it breaks the statues we built of ourselves. Only kindness survives the storm. Only truth leaves a mark no chisel can carve. The marble cracks. The image fades. But the act of grace, the single honest hand extended to another, becomes the only true monument.